But it looks like they're going to get less and less response.
Anybody in the restaurant talking to But you guys know nothing about the defendant. The guy with the defendant. In any case, I'm deputy mayor. I got a lot of said I'm with the Human Relations Commission. Huh? No. We do all
All right. This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council, is called to order. In accordance with Section 5, the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, we be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting in the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, a list of dates annually indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 12, 2011. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation that would be given by Councilman James Vassanelli. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
O God, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, hear our supplications, and through thy infinite love and mercy, graciously grant us the strength and power in our thoughts and decisions for the benefit of all people at all times. And everybody remember in their prayers and thoughts Kevin Apuzio, a firefighter who gave his life rescuing a Franklin citizen 5 years ago this week. Keep him and his family in your prayers. And the people of Sierra Leone, both in Sierra Leone, around the world, and especially in Franklin Township as they celebrate the 50th year of their independence. Amen. Amen.
Madam Clerk, would you take the roll of the council?
Councilman Chase?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois?
Here.
Councilman Kramer? Mayor Levine? Deputy Mayor Prasad?
Here.
Councilman Reagan? Councilwoman Sherman?
Here.
Councilman Vassanella?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Okay. The next item, which is a very big event for all of us here in Franklin, and I know for the members that are here tonight in the audience, and that is the 50th anniversary of the independence of Sierra Leone. And I'm going to bring up Fode Manzare, who helped put together not only tonight's proclamation, presentation, and reading, but also an event that they're having April 23rd, a community-wide event and parade to recognize this very important celebration and date in history. So, Fode, you want to come?
Thank you, Councilman Vassanelli.
Deputy Mayor, Francois, and Councilman Wright is not here, but I also want to extend my sincere thanks and appreciation to you guys for work that you guys did for our community, Sierra Leonean community. Also, Jeannie Woodbury, she's wonderful. She was wonderful. She's a hard worker, and we want to say thank you to her. But before I continue the thanks, let me bring my colleague. We have a local organization which we put over here. Mr. Dauda Bangra is going to do a little bit of moderation so people can come up if they have the same thing. Mr. Dauda Bangra, please. Come up.
What I'm going to do before the gentleman speaks here a little bit about the importance of this event, I will read the official proclamation that the town is giving. Whereas the 50th anniversary of the independence of the Republic of Sierra Leone, West Africa, will be celebrated by citizens and friends of Sierra Leone and communities all over the world on April 27, 2011. And whereas many local Sierra Leonean organizations and individuals are dedicated to the principles of civic, economic, and educational programs within the Township of Franklin, and are dedicated to encouraging reflection on the rich history and teachings of African Americans and bearing witness to the progress, beauty, and achievements they have made throughout our community. And whereas the Mayor and Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, New Jersey, and all citizens of the Township wish to acknowledge and acclaim the contributions of our Sierra Leone community to the life of our community. Now, therefore, I, Councilman James Vassanella, on behalf of the Mayor and the entire Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim Sierra Leone Day, April 27, 2011, in the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset.
Oops, sorry.
We're going to have a couple members of the Sierra Leone community speak, and I just want to say I see the joy and happiness on the face of people in this audience, and I just can't imagine how much this means to you and the independence of Sierra Leone and the contributions to this town and this country. Thank you very much.
Well, I was just going to give a very brief history of Sierra Leone. The name does not in any way evoke anything that's African. The name Sierra Leone dates back to 1462, when a Portuguese sailor by the name of Pedro de Sintra arrived, and he saw the ship like a mountain, and then he exclaimed, Sierra Leone. And then that means in Portuguese, a lion mountain. But actually it was the British who later became our colonial masters that translated it from the Portuguese Sierra Leone to the name Sierra Leone, which is the name by which we are known today, Sierra Leone. And going back to history, I want to create a link between the United States and Sierra Leone. How does the United States connect with my country? If you go back to the history of the slave trade, in 1772, slavery became illegal in Britain. There was a law that was passed in British Parliament known as the Mansfield Act of 1772. This came as a result of a case that was championed by one humanitarian called Granville Sharp. The outcome of that case led to the abolition of the slave trade in 1772. So Lord Mansfield, who was the presiding judge, made a decree that any slave that steps on English soil becomes a freeman. And with that declaration, most slaves who were, say, in America or other parts of the world, were rushing to be in England, because they know if they step on English soil, they become freemen. Around that period, just after the American War of Independence, which was in 1776, there was a group of black people who were former slaves from the Carolinas. These people formed what was known as the Black Pioneers. They fought on the side of Britain during the American War of Independence. Unfortunately, Britain didn't win the war. And all those who fought on the side of Britain, the blacks and some Irish or the Europeans who were on the side of the British, they were all evacuated to Nova Scotia, that is in Canada. So it's that group of former slaves in America who were sent to Nova Scotia, who in fact later on played a very important role in forming what was known as the Sierra Leone Company, to go out in Africa and look for a place where they can find a home for people who are now free. Because as a result of this Mansfield Act 1772, many people were going to England. This created overpopulation with its attendant socio-economic problems, unemployment, overcrowding. So they had to find a solution. So by then, this former slave known as Thomas Peters, he was from the Carolinas. He was the one that went to Britain and had a discussion about what to do to solve this problem. So he, in fact, went to my country with a group of people that were slaves, that were former slaves that are now free. And these people that were settled in my country became known as the Nova Scotians. So the Nova Scotians are the former slaves who were taken to my country from America via Nova Scotia. So this is how America is linked to my own country's history. The Nova Scotians, as I say, are the set of slaves from America. There were other sets of slaves, but I don't want to delve into that because I just want to create the link between Sierra Leone and America. And so the Nova Scotians, as I say, we are the former slaves that were settled there, and when they were taken, the place was formerly was given the name Freetown. Freetown meaning a home for freed slaves. That's why we have our capital. That's why we have the capital named Freetown, because it is founded as a home for freed slaves in 1787. So from that point on, we went through what I would call constitutional and political developments. From 1787, officially, British rule was imposed on us in 1808, when we became what is known as a crown colony. And from that point on, when Sierra Leone became dependent now, because we are formally independent, but when we became a crown colony, we became a colonial territory. So there was some kind of a constitutional development from that period onward, from 1808, going back, different constitutions were formed, transforming the country. The most significant ones I would just call, like the 1951 Stevenson Constitution and the 1958 Constitution that created what we call a chief minister. Samuel Timaga, who became the first prime minister, became chief minister. In 1961 now, Samuel Timaga, who was the leader of the main political party there, which is known as the SLPP, was able to convince all other political leaders in 1960 to form what was known as a united front. And they went to England, they sat with the authorities in England, and they discussed the terms of giving independence to our country. So 1961, April 27, was the day that Sierra Leone became an independent nation. And from then on, you may say in 1961 we were independent, but it was not completely independent, because if you look, our head of state still was not a Sierra Leonean. The head of state in 1961 was the Queen of England. So it means that our independence wasn't complete until 1971, when the 1961 Constitution was amended or changed into what became known as the Republican Constitution in 1971. 1971, we became a republic with the late Sheikh Stephen as our first president. And then going forward, there were demands for more changes that would reflect the changes that are going all over the world. So in 1992, there was another major constitutional change, which in fact made our constitution model after that of the United States of America. Because the previous 1961 Constitution was based on the system of separation of powers. But that separation of powers, you talk about the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary, there was not total separation, there was more what we call a fusion of powers. But in 1992, with the Constitution we had, which is modeled after American Constitution, we had total separation of powers. So today, the executive is totally independent or separated from the legislature. The legislature is totally separated from the judiciary, just like the American system. And the people who are appointed ministers do not have to be members of parliament. Just like if you are a member of the Congress and they make you a Secretary of State in the government, then you relinquish your position. That's the same situation we have now in Sierra Leone today. So the 1992 Constitution is more or less a model of the American Constitution. So today we have a president that is elected for a 5-year term, and we also have an opposition. So to allay the anxieties of people who may be interested in going to our country to know whether we have a system of government that is democratic, I want to say with confidence that our system is a democratic government based on privatization, all the economic arrangements that exist in the United States, which is like a capitalist free enterprise, checks and balances, accountability, transparency, all these things are in place in our country today. So I just want you to know that if you want to go and invest, don't be afraid that, maybe they have a dictatorship there. It's not a dictatorship. It's a democratically elected government, and people are welcome to come to our country and invest. On that note, I want to thank you very much for giving me the time.
If anybody wants to say a word or two, the council have a very tight meeting schedule. We can cut our time and let's say, one minute. Again, Mr. Abdul Gavsi is the Secretary General of our umbrella organization here in New Jersey. That comprises of 21 organizations, of which half of the people I can say live in Franklin Township here. Franklin Township here, between the 5th and 6th ward, I think we have anywhere between 6,000 to 9,000 people. 4th and 5th. Sorry. So, Mr. Abdul Gavsi.
very much. I'll try to be brief, and what I see here is that we really feel with nostalgia when we reminisce on this occasion. Because I'm a very young person, and when I look at the audience, there are people here who can talk a lot about the connection between Sierra Leoneans in this Somerset County. But what I want to say is that for the past 10 years I've been here, this is a moment I always live to remember. And in addition to that, I want to say what you see here is a representation of Somerset County, and these are people who represent their own bodies, their own organization. So I came to be with these people when we decided that we want to make a celebration, and we want to make a celebration for Sierra Leone that will reflect the Sierra Leone homogeneity. And what we have here is a true representation. We have all ethnicity, all political affiliation, we have all religious affiliation, all represented here. And like what the past speaker said, he has really dilated and expounded on our history. And a lot of parallels, as you see, could be drawn between America, United States of America, and us. So we do emulate the principles and values that are very inherent here. And also more, we're very happy to be here because of the diversity. And that is where I believe we have the strength. So we're going to say that despite you have these subgroups, we're also trying to put that model in place, that with diversity, we will have strength. But at the same time, we will not lose our individual, our attributes. So I will not dilate more. I will leave it now to our chairman, Mr. Lamin Arazim, who is the president, who is the chairman of Sierra Leone Community of New Jersey, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gabisi. I will respectfully ask you to please have a seat.
Time. Mr. Time.
Madam Mayor, Councilmen, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans. To the Council of Franklin Township, I want to extend my sincere appreciation for giving us the opportunity today for the proclamation of Sierra Leone independence. As you all know, the speakers have said before, we are celebrating the occasion on the 23rd. And I believe you're all aware of the parade that will be taking place on Hamilton Street. I also want to assure you that our presence in the township will continue. And I will look forward to work with you and to give our support in all ways as possible. So in that regard, I want to thank you all very much again for giving us the opportunity today to be here. Thank you very much. Anybody want to say a word or two? Abdul, Medina? Okay. Let me just close this by saying, when this council nominated Alex Mansouri to sit in the zoning board, I said it was a step forward when he called me on the phone. And today, I say this proclamation represents progress on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone of this town. And for that, I want to extend my sincere thanks and appreciation to you guys, Chief Novak, Deputy Chief Larry Roberts, former Mayor Bill Grippo, who in the beginning, it was very difficult for us here when the Muslim community came together to pray, or the church. They worked tirelessly to support us when nobody knew. During the rebel war we had back home, we had influx of kids that were coming, and we didn't know where to turn. And we had great problem in terms of cultural differences, where I can hug somebody back home, but the kids who are going to school hugging, they were calling it harassment. So the police had to deal with a lot of these issues. So we want to say thank you. wholeheartedly to Councilman Basanella. You've been a champion of the Sierra Leonean people. Kimberly, we've gone a long way with you, and we'll always be there with you. And to the rest of council, Councilman Chase, I call him, myself, I always call him the most senior man on this council, and the encyclopedia of this town. He disputed that, but I will tell you he's the encyclopedia of this town. So we say thank you, let me not waste time. Ginny and our clerk, they've been very supportive in writing those letters that I come here and bug them every day. We don't have this, we don't have. Thank you to everybody. If I don't call your name, please forgive me for that. On behalf again, all the young men here, behind here, can you please stand up, young men? We have the business community also, Mr. Bishop. We have about 8 to 10 businesses on Hamilton Street. All young men in the business community. Young men. Young men. Thanks again. We really, really appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I served with Alex on the planning board, and it was a pleasure. And it was just so his business commitments were such that he wasn't able to come to a lot of the meetings. And so that's why we were not able to have the pleasure of his services. But Alex served the town very well, and the Sierra Leone community as well. Just wanted to thank you all, and also, as you all are reflecting, I am also from a colonial country called India, and the entire, when 100 years ago, when you had the 20th century start, the British at one time used to say that the sun never sets in the British Empire. And in those 100 years, things changed very fast. And there was a man called Gandhi who in South Africa started the nonviolent, peaceful movement. And today, after 100 years, the whole world changed. And in India, when he came there, he took the leadership, and my grandfather served with him and spent 30 years in and out of jail. So it is something very personal to me. And I think one of the first colonies that got its independence was India in 1947. And we became a republic in 1950. So I know what you went through. And we had a governor general for those 3 years as well, who was a Britisher. So, I understand and know your history, and commend you for what you've done. And we're all part of this diversity melting pot, which is called Franklin. And it is because of our diversity that we were ranked the 5th best place to live in America. Wow. And we continue to be the best place. We were ranked by Money Magazine as the best place to live in New Jersey this recent year. And it is because of the culture of diversity. And I don't know how many of you play cricket, but cricket is a big... Well, I got news for you. George Washington played cricket. So thank you very much for coming, and our congratulations for the 50th year of your independence, and we'll all be there for your parade and celebrate with you. Okay.
The group that was here today. I plan on being at that parade. I plan on marching. You'll see me with the divas and gents. That's my group. They're also having an award ceremony this Saturday at 6 o'clock at the East Franklin Firehouse. So if you can come out and support them, that'd be great. Support our young people. Also, I wanted to mention that on April 7th, which was last Thursday, we had a career expo over at the community center. We had over 35 businesses attend. Our turnout for the young people was kind of small this year. We didn't have as many as we've had in the past. This was our third annual career expo. And the intent was to expose our youth to career opportunities, volunteer opportunities, internships, as well as jobs. And the businesses that were in attendance were very, very impressed with our young people. So I just wanted to say that. And also, please come out and vote, like it was said earlier, on April 27th. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Councilman Chase.
I was going to put forward as a discussion item to set the second hearing on the proposed outsourcing of the management of our water system. Since we've only got 5 council people here tonight, and we would probably be having this hearing in the second half of May, I think we can put off the discussion until the next council meeting. Anne Marie, if you can put it on the agenda for then. I myself will be away for about 10 days. I won't miss the council meeting, but I hope we can have that on the 24th. From the Environmental Commission, I can say that plans are moving ahead very well for the second